let's talk about RG3 tells Caleb Williams that he should pull a John Elway or Eli Manning and refuse to go to Chicago. Okay. I kind of agree with him, to be honest, man. It's no Chicago hate, even though I don't like the Care Bears. I'm a Lion fan, but Chicago, they history of developing quarterbacks and quarterbacks thriving there. I mean, it ain't too good. It ain't too good at all, man. You see what they did to Justin Fields. You see what they did to Mitchell Trubisky. I mean, even, McMahon, what I'm saying, back in the 80s, I mean, he was more of a bus driver. It was that 84, 85 Bears that really, all he had to do was just keep the wheels straight. So, statistically, the best quarterback they had was Jay Cutler. And I feel if Jay Cutler didn't get injured, in that NFC Championship game, the Bears probably would have went to the Super Bowl and played the Steelers and not the Packers. But nonetheless, I think it's you look at the organization and they just haven't been able to, develop a quarterback. Look how many offensive coordinators Fields had, and look at the up and down with Mitchell Trubisky. They took Trubisky over Deshaun Watson, over Patrick Mahomes, and they just ain't done a lot. And is that because they play outdoors? I know they building a retractable stadium so they can have a Super Bowl, in Chicago. What the question about that is people still gonna be interested in going to a cold Super Bowl? Not only just cold, but right off, that Lake Michigan. It's windy as hell too, but they got a bunch of amenities in Chicago as well too. So, great downtown. They probably throw them a bone, but most people love traveling to warmer area places, and they had a Super Bowl in a couple cold areas. I mean, they did one in New York, because that's New York, because that's the one where Seattle stumped out Denver and Peyton Manning, and it just so happened to be a nice day. Then, they did one in Indianapolis. I went to that one. That was in the Dome. I don't remember. It was a nice day there too, honestly. But nonetheless, a lot of people fumbling, did they make the right decision with Caleb Williams? And only time gonna tell, but he probably should, try to get to somewhere else. You hear Deion Sanders say, well, I don't want my son playing in the cold. I mean, I think you get used to it. I don't really think Aaron Rodgers, a Southern California guy, or a California guy, I'm not sure if he's a SoCal guy, but him, Tom Brady, they made the adjustment to playing out in the cold. Foxborough, Green Bay. I don't know where Jay Cutler from, but he spun it in Chicago. You know what I'm saying? So, you're going to have to go, depending on where you go to NFC, AFC North. Everybody in the cold up there. Pittsburgh out in the cold, Cleveland out in the cold, Baltimore out in the cold, Cincinnati out in the cold. So, I mean, if you got to play the AFC East, or if you play in the AFC East, what you got? 8 home games that's going to, it depends what time of year. 8 home day games outside. And then you're going to get another 3, outdoors going there. So that's 11 total games you're going to be playing outdoors. So, you can't, if that's the issue, that's going to be an issue then. I mean, that's something that you should be able to adjust to, But Lamar adjusted, another South Florida guy. He made the adjustment to playing in the cold. I think you can adjust. But, I think, we look at John Elway. He did that. He had baseball to leverage. Eli Manning, his father's name and how they treated him in New Orleans. They feel like they still owed him the leverage he did. And that was the right thing to do. That was the difference between Eli probably not going down as one of the biggest busts and being a 2-time Super Bowl champion, beat Tom Brady twice, and probably gonna get into the Hall of Fame based off his playoff performances in those 2 Super Bowls. And Phillip Rivers, not winning the Super Bowl, but probably still getting into Hall of Fame. That's the difference. Phillip Rivers go to the New York Giants, they might win multiple Super Bowls. He was a better quarterback than Eli, at least in the regular season. He went to San Diego and they didn't have much success. It was always something that was haunting them. It was either LT getting injured or, one year they led the NFL. They was number 1 in offense and number 1 in defense. And I believe they missed it. They missed the playoffs. That's kind of like the black cloud over my Detroit Lions. But when you look at the history of a team, you know what I'm saying, and all their quarterbacks don't really thrive, you know, the way they should outside of Jay Cutler. I think Jay Cutler was traded for. They draft Jay Cutler in Chicago? I can't remember. I want to say they traded for Jay Cutler. Yeah, they traded for Jay Cutler for Denver. I knew I wasn't crazy. I had to double check that. So they traded for Jay Cutler. So I knew I wasn't crazy. They traded for Jay Cutler. So yeah. They sure did. They traded for O.J. Keesley. So, they sure did. So that's something else to think. That's something else to think about. So, you know, the quarterback development is not been there. I like when girls pull this part of my beard. I ain't gonna lie. I'm like, stop. They're like, you know you like it. But it's a big ass eagle in the sky. Oh, that's a Canadian geese. My bad. But yeah, I think he should. You know, no offense to fuck Chicago Bears. I got some homies in Chicago. Chicago cool, but fuck the Bears. But the organization been tearing up quarterbacks, man. You know, they ain't developed not one good one, man. You can't take credit for Jay Cutler. You want to take for McMahon? Go ahead. You know, he was just a bus driver out of BYU, but I think he should do it. But like Tom Biz pointed out, you know, John Elway had the color for the had the complexion for the protection. Eli had the complexion for the protection, and Caleb Williams, that's a horrible way to start off your career. So they really gonna try to stick it for you for trying to do what Eli and John Elway did. You know they gonna do it, but think about it. They forced their way out. They got Super Bowls. You know, John lost 3 straight. You know, 1, 2 straight. You know, and Eli won 2. So, Elway was refusing to go to the Baltimore Colts. They ended up being Indianapolis Colts, and Eli ended up going to the Giants. You can trade it to the Giants for Phillip Rivers on draft day. You know, winning a couple. So, I think man, if you looking what's best for you, you know, they set the team up, get him Keenan Allen, and also if you Chicago, you gotta look at everybody. Jaden Daniels, you know, Dave, you know, the May kid. Don't just get caught up in hype because they say he the best. You know, you gotta make sure you make the right decision. And they talking about we doing our due diligence on Bo Nix. Get the hell, Bo Nix ain't shit. I'll tell you that right now. Bo Nix ain't shit as a quarterback. That's no offense to him, but he ain't. But I think he should. But at the end of the day, Chicago not a bad market. They got great tourist town, great food town. Eventually they'll be indoors. So, you know, the iconic Soldier Field. So, I mean, it's a lot of pressure. You know, they got some weapons. Keenan Allen, DJ Moore. So, I mean, but if you don't feel like it give you the best chance to win, hey, man, try to maneuver your way. Say, I don't want to go there and I don't want to play there. You already got labeled as a diva. Shit, you know, if you don't think you could be successful in that organization, best way to do is force your way out. They got you for 5 years, plus the franchise year 6, plus another franchise year 7 years. They can have you up to 7 years of your career. So do you really want to go there, or you want to finesse your way? I mean, then the second team is Washington. You know what I'm saying? Do you really want to go down to DC? I mean, he from down there. So he's played in the cold before. He's from down there, and he's from DC. So I don't know if he would want to go to the crib. It's a lot of pressure for a young guy. But, you know, you want the Raiders to come get you. I mean, if you're the Raiders, you know, want to make that phone call, you know. But then again, you got to get, you know, they got to get a guy that they want in Chicago now that they got rid of Fields. So who is Washington going to take? Jay McDaniels, the May kid, J.J. McCarthy, Michael Penix. So it's a lot that go in there. But check out the NFL playlist. Hit the link tree. Find me on X, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Instagram, Cash App, Venmo. Both of them is CJ Good 313. Obviously, Cash App, $. You can find me everywhere. Just hit that link tree. Check out the NFL playlist for more videos like this. Peace.